What's up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Matt Bell and I'm a cinematographer. I'm going to show you some shit that I've shot and how I shot it. This is Lighting Diagrams episode 2. What are we going to call it? Festival Contenders! This and this. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, this is episode 2 of Lighting Diagrams and we are dedicating it to Festival Contenders. This year I'm fortunate enough to have 3 projects premiering in the New Orleans Film Festival. I'm gonna show you stills from those things. Don't spoil the movies. I'm gonna tell you exactly what we're looking at, nothing else. This first still comes from a short film entitled The Funeral Band, directed by Nic Pino. So guys, this one's relatively simple. If you look at Rev's face here, we got a bunch of light hitting him on the side of the face here. We also have a bunch of rim light happening here. You might have guessed it already, we have a big old beautiful sun over here that's just blasting from behind here, giving us all this nice rim, all of this action here, all of this action here, all of these big beautiful natural hits. Now we can't just let all of that beautiful natural light go unreturned, so guess what we had to do? Yeah, that's right, this right here, boom. We got this big beautiful 12 by 12 ultra bounce that's being manhandled by a couple of grips. In this shot, Rev is walking from point A to point B, and so is the camera. We had to walk this bounce back with him. It was a little bit tricky, but it was a lot of fun to do. This big beautiful 12 by ultra bounce is what's given us all of this return from the sun side of the world. It's given us these nice eye lights here, and it's given us all of this fill that we desperately needed to battle the sun. The last thing I want to tell you about this still is actually what I was using in camera as far as filtration. To get this nice warm tone for this project, I decided to use a number 2 tobacco filter in front of the lens. In some shots, I also used a number 2 gradient blue filter for the sky, which I thought looked pretty dope. You gotta check out the short film if you want to see those shots. This next still comes from a short film entitled Samantha, which was directed by Josh Carley and stars Laura Cayouette and Luke Edwards. So there's a lot going on in this scene. We've got a fill light here that's hitting Laura in the face. We've got a practical bulb in the background. We have a little bit of hair light happening right there. We got this practical in the background. We have all this window light going on. We have a fireplace happening. There's a bunch of light here on the tabletop, which probably isn't coming from that fireplace. It looks like it's coming from above. For this image, we wanted to keep things super dramatic and super contrasty. All the light that's hitting Laura on the face is coming from a 1x1 panel that we put through a little bit of diffusion. So in addition to the diffusion, we also took the light off of the background by adding a flag lamp left to keep all the light away from the background and only concentrate on Laura's face. In addition to the 1x1 panel camera left, we had an additional 1x1 panel camera right to hit Laura in the hair here to give her a little bit of separation from the background. You can call this a hair light, you can call this a rim light, whatever you like. Now that takes care of the foreground. What about the background, you ask? Now these background practicals are really just environmental lights. They're not really lighting much, except this practical here off to camera left is giving us a little bit of action on the couch. Same for this camera right practical. It's giving us a little bit of hit on this background, but not much, just a taste. So up here in the ceiling, we've got this practical bulb that we've dressed with black wrap so that it only shoots straight down and nowhere else. The last practical in this image is, of course, the fire. Now, the fire is really just a design element. It wasn't really used as a practical lighting source that you might see in some films where we have a lot of flicker on the face and people are being keyed from the fire. Now, of course, when we shot this, it was blazing sun outside, and that's something that we had to get away from. I dressed the windows with ND9 in addition to full CTB, which is color temperature blue, and that's what the result is. This last still comes from a project that I'm very excited about. It's a feature documentary entitled Bending Lines, a sculpture of Robert WIGGS. Directors Allison, Bohl, Dehart, and Peter Dehart follow Robert WIGGS as he fuels his obsession for the repeating geometry of nature. This one is incredibly simple. I think it's a good one to end this video on. This is Robert WIGGS, and he's an incredible person. This is an angle we were shooting in his home while interviewing him about his sculptures and his process. Up above frame there, we've got these tall, elongated windows kind of looking like that. I'm trying to remember exactly what our process was. I'm fairly certain that we went in and scouted this place before we came in to shoot. That being said, I believe we chose this particular time of day because we knew the sun would come blasting through, and that's exactly what's going on here. We've got the sun blasting light through those windows and hitting Robert right here in the back of the head and the back of the neck and on his shoulders. And honestly, because this was a super intimate documentary setup, we didn't want to make that big of a footprint. So all we really allowed ourselves to do was to bring a bounce into the home. I think we might have had a 1x1 panel as well, but for this particular shot, Robert's getting all of his return from a 4x4 beadboard just off of camera right. So what the beadboard is giving us is, of course, all of these nice little hits on Robert's hands right here. You're getting shimmer off of the sculpture that he's holding here. And of course you have all this beautiful fill light. I really can't express to you how much fun this shoot was, and I'm super excited about the documentary. It's really, really good. I highly recommend you check it out as soon as you can. Pow! Well, that's about it. Thank you so much for joining me today. This was the second episode of Lighting Diagrams, where I showed you a still from the funeral band, where I showed you a still from Samantha, and of course from Bending Lines, a sculpture of Robert WIGGS. All three of these films are premiering at the New Orleans Film Festival this year, and I'm super jazzed about that. For more information on Bending Lines, please check out bendinglinesfilm.com. If you'd like to see more behind the scenes footage and photos of things that I've shot, you can check out my Instagram at mattsbelldp. You can also find me at www.mattsbell.com as well as fablehouse.tv. Anyway guys, later. I don't know how to end these.